Facebook. We are streaming live with Drink Up Podcast Live and have a special guest, Eric Ranks from 22 Salute and I guess TVC. I don't know what TVC is. That's news for me, so we'll get into that. But Eric, before we get going, I just have a couple of things just to share with the audience. And we're not as professional as your podcast, but we're always improving. I always call out our friends at Freebird, Jay Williams. If you want to follow someone on LinkedIn or connect with a great human being, I would say please connect up with Jay Williams. But it's excellent water. I'm drinking the sparkling one this morning. It tastes really good. So to clear my throat out. Other person I want to call on is Adam Smith, my co-host. He can't be here today, but his company, Alias Advising, they actually help if you have operation needs. So think about like your production and how you plan out your MOQs and all that fun stuff. He'll help you with packaging, lids, formulations, excellent background. And we're always loving to connect people up with Adam. And then calling out Alicia Vargo, who is our sponsor with Bev Assets, and we help people find customers and distributors, is what we do for a living over at Bev Assets. And finally, Rocks Advising with our friend Ryan. They have a group of people that they can help from everything from logistics, marketing, PR, you name it. They probably have someone that you can connect with there. But with that, all those call outs. Someone told me I should probably put like a little flash on the screen to talk about those things. And Eric, I know you were doing that on your podcast, so it gave me some ideas as we evolve. But welcome to Drink Up. I had the pleasure to get to know you this past year, and so excited to have you here to talk about your brand and talk about yourself. So first of all, I want you to give a little bit of background about yourself, who you are, and how you arrived on Drink Up.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for having me on the podcast today, and thank you to each of your sponsors that you mentioned at the beginning of this. You know, that's what allows you to keep doing this podcast week after week. So, thank you for supporting Sam with Drink Up, because you know it's crucial for people to have a platform like this to come out and share their journey and support others. So, thank you for what you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so to answer one of the questions before I jump in, TVC stands for the Veterans Connection. So that's
Yeah.
the nonprofit that I founded in 2012 before 22 Salute was born. And so that's what TVC is. And it doesn't allow you on Riverside to have enough characters to put the whole Veterans Connection, so I shortened it to TVC.
Oh, okay. Well, I can put it up on the top in the title, actually, I think. So I can,
Yeah, either way, we're good. I mean, we'll talk through things. What part of my background do you want me to start with?
well, why the heck would you get into the beverage business? This gets the first question.
Okay. I'm gonna try. I'm actually gonna go back a ways, but I'm gonna try to shorten the beginning part to get to the front. Why I got there. Um, so I grew up in a military family. My dad served during Vietnam in the Army, and then he transferred to the Air Force after Vietnam. So he was part of the draft, and during that time of Vietnam, well, during that time, I guess, not during Vietnam, when he transferred to the Air Force, I grew up as a military kid, so, and he was a clinical and neurological psychologist, so mental health and vets was always a conversation in my house. And at age 5, I was diagnosed with leukemia,
Oh, geez.
and through that, all going through my life, I dealt with different medical issues, and through that, it also created physical and mental pain within myself. And multiple times, I tried to take my life growing up, and luckily, there was always somebody who randomly would just show up at the wrong times in my mind. They were the right times, but they were the wrong times in my mind. I was always really frustrated, and and then I got to a later in life where I was happier in life, but then I went through a divorce, and I overdosed. I was trying to get happy, so I overdosed on antidepressants trying to get happy. I was no longer trying to take my life. Now I'm trying to say, just get
Man,
happy
this
and
story is
continue.
so powerful, Eric. I mean, this is
And
a lot of this is news to me this morning.
yeah, it's and my health problems haven't stopped. In 2015, I almost died of internal bleeding. 2019, a ruptured esophagus. Like, it's just been one thing after another. My wife's been told multiple times he's not going to make it through the night. Um, so for me, I live every day of if I'm here today, it was a blessing. I have a reason to be here. I need to go make impact. And so around 2010 time, I became good friends with some people that were older than me that served in Vietnam that had Agent Orange issues. And like one guy in Florida, his legs would constantly split open and bleed and pus and all just nasty stuff. But in 2010, the VA still didn't cover Agent Orange. And so all those treatments were not being covered, and that's just his life. He had to deal with it. And it was crazy. Like, this is 2010 and Vietnam was how long ago? But that's how far back, our government is when they want to recognize things. We've been blessed that now there's coalitions that are more powerful. And, luckily people got to pass the burn pit during the first Trump administration. But that, again, that's a lot of vets that got hurt and suffered from cancer and stuff from burn pits during Afghanistan and Iraq. But so that was 2010. Around 2011, I started having friends coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan with really bad PTSD issues, and it was affecting their careers, their family life, all that, and not getting help. And from there, I was like, okay, I understand physical and mental pain. I've been seeing these vets coming back with, from Vietnam, from Iraq, Afghanistan, and not getting the help that they need. And I was like, I don't understand what they went through, but I understand physical and mental pain, and I understand mental health And so I left corporate America and started the Veterans Connection to make a difference. And so if we fast forward to 2020, from 2012, then during the pandemic, the nonprofit events kind of came to a screeching halt. And so I had a lot more time to start watching the internet and what was going on. And I kept watching the veteran and first responder suicide rates just rapidly increasing. And so I started reaching out to other nonprofits, and I said, hey, there's like 50,000 veteran nonprofits out there. Like, why are we all just doing the same things, but we're not working together? And I just kept getting pushback. Like, hey, we're not going to work with you because we're afraid you'll take away some of our donor dollars. And I kept saying, I don't care who gets the dollars. I just want to help somebody. Like, take all the donor dollars.
So they're trying to help people, but not help people because not to collaborate.
Yeah, and it just,
how silly
it just
is
made
that?
me so angry. So finally, I was like, I have to create a for-profit that can fund nonprofit work. I was like,
Okay.
I can't listen to this BS of donor
So
dollar.
Was this the birth of 22 Salute?
Yeah, this is what drove the birth of 22 Salute. So when I got so angry, I started talking to veteran friends around me, and I was like, hey,
let's step back a little bit. So we get to the birth of 22 Salute. So I'm like a pitcher. I'm going to come in. I'm going to interrupt you.
Perfect. I love that.
Okay. So 22 Salute. How did you come up with the name 22 Salute? Number one. So answer that question. And then as a backup question, what is 22 Salute?
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So how I came up with the name is the 22, which is on my hat. The 22 signifies there's an average, according to the Department of Defense, of 22 suicides every day in the veteran community. The reason why I did the so-called 22 is because they based that on 9 states in the United States, and they decided they weren't going to extrapolate that into more states in the U.S. The actual number is between 40 to 60 a day. Like, it's a real problem. And but even at 22, it's a real problem. But that's not the real number.
Right. So you came up with the name 22 Salute because of the
So that's the
average.
22. And then
Yeah.
the salute is like, we need to honor those people. Like, they were not in a good place. The government didn't take care of them. They didn't get the help they needed. Like, we need to honor them. Like, we don't honor the choice they took to take their life, but as a person, what they've done for us and them not getting the support, like, they need to be honored. So that's kind of how the name came about.
That's amazing. And so, 22 Salute, what is it? Is it a bourbon, a whiskey? What is 22 Salute? I think you have a coffee as well.
Yeah, so 22 Salute is a social enterprise, so it's a for-profit to fund nonprofit work. And we
Okay.
actually fund multiple organizations now, mostly in veteran and first responders space, but we actually do children hospitals also in 4 states.
Amazing.
Um, and it's coffee. It's coffee and spirits. And on the spirit side, we do the only fig vanilla bourbon made in the world today, and then we also do a premium vodka. So,
Got it.
and then our coffee line, we have 14 coffees that are high altitude specialty coffees using the top one
Can we
one
do a
percent of
can we do a
coffee.
show and tell on that eventually as we kind of get through and show what the item looks like? Do you have the ability to
Yeah,
share your
they're in a
screen?
different room, but yes, I
Oh,
could.
you can run and go get it. That's okay. How quickly can you run and go get it? You can show your screen too. Be a
I can get product really fast.
Okay. Go get the
Okay,
product.
do you want now, or do you want me to grab them now and we'll just get to them at that point? You
Grab
just
them
let me
now,
know.
man. We're live, raw and real.
All
It's
right,
okay.
give me one quick second.
All right, good. This is so we're waiting. This is a very powerful story as we wait for Eric. What they do for veterans and first responders is the most amazing thing. And Alicia and I had the opportunity to actually work alongside these gentlemen and what they're doing. So when he gets back, I want you to see the brands that he has, because when you make that purchase, it's just not a sales call, but when you make that purchase of this brand, you're actually helping people. And if you listen to Eric's story, it's pretty amazing, right? What he's gone through in terms of almost losing his life several times from childhood leukemia. So very powerful story that he's sharing this morning. And I hope that y'all stick with us and continue to listen. All right, so you got the product.
I have the product.
All right.
Uh, I might have to. We'll try. I might have to turn on my virtual
I
background.
don't think you've ever sent me one of these, by the way. Maybe you did. I have to look around. I don't think I
Okay,
have one.
so bourbon. Do I need to turn off the background, or are we good?
Yeah, turn off the background.
Okay,
That's
hold
okay.
on
I
a
can see
sec.
it. You can see it, but you have to turn off your background.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Visual effects.
That's what's great about going live, Eric, is we don't know what we're going to get. I had a person on
Oh,
the
I
show, and she.
can't.
Okay,
Once
that's
you hit
fine.
re- Once
That's
you hit
fine. Just put it.
record, I guess. Yeah, once you
Put
hit
it close to
record,
the
it won't
camera.
let you change it.
If you hold it back, kind of like back a little bit, there you go. Like in front of your face. There you go.
Okay,
Perfect.
so this is the only fig vanilla bourbon made in the world, and one thing that we're super proud of. So here is a clear suicide message. But
Yeah.
right here, we're also the first alcohol company ever to add the suicide crisis line on the back of all of our bottles. So if people are
Wow.
in a bad mindset, I hope don't investors don't listen to this, but I hope if someone's in a bad mindset, they don't buy my bottle or anyone else's. They see this number, they go get help. But like our brand, they'll know what it means. They'll call the number, get help, and when you're in a better mindset, come support our brand. But
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is if you go to the website, I'm sure it's all plastered over there. I know you just got into the Virginia ABC, and you're the military is supporting your brand big time across the globe, right?
yeah, our vodka. So if you notice our bottles, all of our bottles are really large.
Yeah.
So they're all 1 liter, and that's not
Okay.
a standard thing that somebody launches with is a 1 liter bottle. But
Yeah.
in fact, there's very few brands that even put out a 1 liter bottle. It's usually the
Yeah.
750 and 1.75. It's
Yeah.
1 liters are really off. We have some states like Idaho who have not accepted us because we only have a 1 liter bottle. They said if we make it 750, they'll put us on the shelf. So why do we have a 1 liter bottle? Because there's 22 shots in a 1 liter bottle. And so it goes back to that 22 number. Our vodka, most vodka is filtered 1 to 3 times. We filter our vodka over 22 times, which actually takes us an extra day and a half of filtering. But we're doing it to honor the lives that we lost that day. Like everything we do in our brand is super purposeful.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I want to hold on real quick before we get to the coffee. So I just want to say hello to a couple people. Alicia Vargas here. She says hello. Christine, I'm going to butcher your name. Lily, Richard Moniz, and Robert Cogan. And Robert actually says, saying it again, did you ever reach out to the Canadian veterans groups in line with your purpose? So I might have a connection with you in Canada with Robert. He goes by Cost of Goods Sold, but Robert Cogan. So we got a couple fans out there looking. And then Richard says, I like the logo and brand. I think the front is trying to communicate a lot of info. So just give you some. We get real live feedback here too as well.
I love that.
Show the coffee though. I want to get into this coffee. And by the way, I'll send you my address. I guess you don't have it because I don't have any of these products.
Yeah, I don't have your address.
I know. Alicia, thanks for sharing my address.
Yeah. So this is a coffee bag, and what I'm going to point out on the coffee bag is on the bottom. On top of our branding, you'll see our brand ambassador. He's also our alcohol brand ambassador. His name is B. Taylor. He is the global ambassador to the United States military. He also is a multi-award winning Grammy and platinum artist, and he played for the Chargers for a while. The guy's done it all, and Navy veteran, and he's beyond excited to represent our brand. And we worked a different route to get into the Marine exchanges. You mentioned military, but we tried for 2 years to get into AAFES, and B. Taylor made one call and we got an immediate yes. So like your connections do matter.
So what exchanges are you going into right now?
So we've been in the Marines for a year, and then we're going into AAFES, which is Air Force and Army. That's the largest of the military bases, and we're doing Spring Reset, which is like April, May time, and I haven't gotten the full list of stores yet and the order size, but I'm super excited about that. And then we'll start working on Navy after that. So that'll cover them all. And then there is Coast Guard. But I don't know if everybody knows this. This might be new to some people on the podcast. It may not be. They may all know it. But the Coast Guard moved. It's kind of a weird. They no longer under the military. They're now under Homeland Security. That happened after 9/11.
Interesting. They're not. So my son-in-law is in the Coast Guard.
Yeah, they actually go through Department of Homeland Security, but the budget goes through I can't remember the Navy or the Marine Corps. I think the Navy. I think the budget goes through the Navy, but they report to the Department of Homeland Security. The same group as like Border Patrol and stuff like that. So it's very interesting, the Coast Guard. So it's a different route to get to the Coast Guard than going to the other military exchanges.
Interesting. So how many exchanges are there? This would be some knowledge you probably know. How many AAFES locations are there across North America?
So AAFES, there's about,
you're talking globe, right?
Yeah, so AAFES, there's a little over 4,000. Between all the exchanges, there's over 6,000. And then you have Dexcom, which also includes canteens that are in different government buildings.
And you're approved for all these locations?
We're approved. We're not in the Navy, like I said, we're not in the Navy system yet. We're launching AAFES for Spring Reset, and then we're in every Marine Corps.
So how many AAFES are there that you're going into? How many AAFES stores are you going into? 4,000. You're going into 4,000 stores?
Do what?
You're going into 4,000 AAFES stores?
I don't know an exact number that it's going to be, but if not, it'll ramp up quick. So B. Taylor's an interesting guy. So he has this is gonna be positive and negative. So B Taylor has represented a few other brands to help him get into military because being the global ambassador of the United States military, he reports directly to the Secretary of Defense. So he's been doing it for I think 16 years. He's reported to the Secretary's offenses for the last 16 years, and
wow.
so he has meetings with like Pete Hegseth and people like that constantly right now, and so he meets with the guy who General Tata, who he is over the military budget for all exchanges globally,
Amazing.
and so B Taylor. He's represented other brands like Mark Wahlberg has a hydration product, Aqua
Yeah.
Hydrate. He got him into every base worldwide. This is going to be kind of the somewhat negative, but he left him before everything came out. But he did put Diddy's Ciroc into the military.
Hey,
Got
look,
it
I
in the
dealt, I
100%.
dealt with P. Diddy back when I was on text messaging with P. Diddy, believe it or not.
Yeah, he put that brand in every base worldwide and turned it
Oh,
into the
God.
number one base selling product. So he has 100% success rate of getting your brand in 100% of locations
Oh,
worldwide.
careful about sharing your secret magic there, but the reason you're going in there is because of the cause. Let's go back to what it is. I mean, if you're in the military and a first responder, I mean, this is a brand that you want to proudly, put on your back bar or, in your bar and your distributor, by the way, and your retailer, packaged liquor stores, grocery stores. I mean, talk about doing something great for society. And when you were going to find your packages, just reemphasizing your story. Eric, I got to tell you, I mean, your resilience of, what you shared with me, I didn't know. I didn't know that you had childhood leukemia. I didn't know that you almost died or bled out with internal bleeding.
Yeah,
Those
that
things.
that internal bleeding. It took two major hospitals 3.5 weeks and multiple blood transfusions to stop that bleeding.
Wow.
Like it,
Wow.
like they couldn't stop it. I was having horrible, but I had 2 or 3 colonoscopy and endoscopies every single day for 3.5 weeks. They were trying to find.
Yeah.
I was bleeding in thousands of places. They couldn't cauterize them fast enough within my body.
Oh my gosh. Well, man, Eric, I'm so glad that you survived it because I got to know you. So coming back full circle back to the military, I wanted to call up a couple of people, military and the ABC. Jesse Ott, I think you've been working closely with Jesse. So what did she do? What was her role? Did she just help you just kind of solidify some of this working with B. Taylor too?
Uh, no, she's never met B. Taylor.
Okay.
So Jesse helped us. I met her through Green Glass, and
Hmm.
Jesse helped us get into the Marine Corps Exchange.
Okay.
So that was a connection she had.
Okay.
Um,
So that was like that kind of helped seed plant the opportunity, right? So in car, and then Mark Bird, talk a little bit about ABC. You learned a little bit about control states and what's happening there with Mark Bird. He helped you get into the ABC as well, right?
yeah, I think they were our, I don't know, like sixth control state we got into. So that
Yeah.
was our most recent control state was Virginia, which we're super excited about Virginia. So Mark Bird, of course, I met through through your team through Bev Assets.
Yeah.
So anybody who's looking for retail support, distribution, things like that, definitely look into Bev Assets with what Sam and Alicia's doing. They're
That's
so
not about us, man. This is about 22 Salute. Don't
no,
worry
no,
about
no.
it.
I'm being serious. I'm
Okay.
being dead serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I appreciate that, but no, I really mean it. So I met Mark Bird through them, and he went and helped open the door to ABC Virginia, which that they're a control state. Which if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you probably know what that is. But if you don't, it just means everything runs through the state first. Every
Yeah.
control state has different rules. Like it's sold in their own stores. Some it starts there and can be sold in other places. So it just depends what control state it is. But there's over 400 of those across Virginia. And so,
Yeah, I think we got in the first 20, right? And then we're just really
correct.
hyper focused. So soon to be 400 very quickly. And Virginia is one of the top bourbon states in the U.S. Believe it or not. So they
And
do.
also massive government, military.
Yeah, that all ties in the whole bit. I wanted to stream something from Joshua on the screen here. I love this. How will the POS at in-store on shelf tell the awesome story to the consumers? This is coming in from Joshua. You want to talk about a little bit about that? How you communicate? How do people get the message? If you
Yeah, so it's a
Joshua, chime in if I miss that. But I think you give us a thumbs up. So
Yeah, so it's a few different ways. One, of course, it's the bottle itself, and there is a lot of text on there, and we've thought about how to consolidate it. So I appreciate that feedback that somebody had posted out there earlier. Um, so one that starts there is one because um, nobody wants to have the suicide story. Like we took that message to the general public. Like it's clear on the back of our bottle, and nobody
yeah,
wants.
don't hide from it, man. Put it right in your face. This is
Yeah,
real, man. This is what's
so that's
happening.
one. We
Yeah.
do case stacks, and we tell a story on the case stacks. On the coffee, if people know what shippers are, like a lot of grocery stores, when they want to test you,
Yeah.
they'll bring you in through shippers, and we have incredible shippers telling a very clear story. We do demos where people can come and taste our product. Lips to mouth is the best way to.
And I'm assuming at the demo, if someone's going through a hard time, maybe at some point they might see that number on the bottle during that demo or whatever, that you can make a difference in people's lives. If I'm a retailer and I'm a distributor, if you're a retailer or distributor, if you're not listening to this, and if Eric knocks on your door, if you're not banging on his door to bring your product in, you're making a mistake. I mean, he's going across every Avis across North America, the military, Marine exchanges. He's in 4 states. I think you're in Kroger as well, right? I mean, I think
Yeah,
Kroger.
can I tell a Kroger story? Which
Yeah,
will
go ahead. You can do anything you want here,
let
man.
me
This is
tell
your
let me
time.
tell a Kroger story. I'm going to tell two pieces to Kroger. One, because I want to ask people to support them, and two, because I want to share something you kind of touched on about like if somebody saw that number and was going through something. So this story will kind of cover both. So the first one is when 22 Salute was born, our first go to market, because we were coming out of the pandemic, was let's launch our alcohol online. Because during the pandemic that became huge. I mean that's where big companies like Speakeasy and companies like that made a ton of money because everybody was shipping alcohol online. And so
Right.
that was our go to market. Then we, without realizing, had a connection to one of the highest executives, senior vice president of all of Kroger, um, who who goes to the gym with one of my co-founders. Um, it was a weird thing. Like I took my co-founder to a nonprofit event in Vegas, and there was Misha Tate and Randy Couture and a few other UFC fighters, and he had pictures. He had pictures of taken with all of them, and then he got into the gym, and he always talks UFC with this guy. He was showing the pictures, and the guy's like, "What were you
Yeah.
doing?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was at this and we're gonna launch this alcohol brand." And the
Yeah.
guys looked at him. He's like, "You know who I am?" And he's like, "I don't even know your name, man." He's like, "No, I don't know. I don't know what you do." So he's like, "Oh man, I'm the senior vice president of Kroger." And it's a unique situation. You're supposed to live in Cincinnati, but they were allowing him, because his family didn't want to move, to be senior vice president of Kroger and be president of Smith's, which is one of the banners. So he actually had two roles. He heard the story, and he looked at him and said, "Listen, man, Kroger is one of the most veteran friendly and supporting companies there is." He says, "I don't need to hear any more. We're launching your brand across Kroger nationwide."
Wow.
And we said, "What?" Now hold on, listen to this. We said, "What?" We said, "That's awesome." And he calls me. He's like, "You got to get on the phone with him." So I get on the phone. We start talking through, and he's like, "How soon can you guys launch?" He's like, "Labor Day is coming up in a couple of weeks. Can you guys launch for Labor Day in Nevada? Let's test that market first." Now here's what's crazy. We hadn't even produced a product.
That's amazing.
We didn't have
story.
anything. No
Support
sales
of the
data.
veteran
Like
community says it
Kroger had
all
no
for me.
sales data. They couldn't test a product. They couldn't anything.
Yeah.
So I call our distillery and I'm like, we've got 3 weeks to get product. We got to find a distributor and get product delivered to stores in Nevada in 3
Wow.
weeks.
Wow, like that's called the chicken and the egg problem.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I say, like, support Kroger. Like, they gave us a chance before we even had product.
I love hearing that story because so many chains don't do that. But if there's a chain buyer that's actually listening to this story, like listen to this story and give Eric a call. Now we have product, or you have product now, right?
Oh, we
So
did my product, yeah.
we can fulfill that order. A couple of things coming in here, so I just want to make sure I don't miss people. So Robert
Okay,
says,
and then I'll finish my
Kogan,
story once you
the
pull those up.
LCBO, largest alcohol buyer this side of the asteroid belt. Ever look into that customer, perhaps an opportunity to sneak in as boycotts slow down. So we'll definitely connect you up, Robert. And then Richard says, it's also a tough time for U.S. alcohol and the LCBO, but through veterans groups, it might have a unique opportunity. And then, anyway, so just some activity and chatter. So finish the story.
No, I love it. Okay, so now you guys know, we instead of going online, we went right to Kroger. And so then our focus became, we just have to move product off shelf and keep expanding through Kroger. So we started doing demos in Smith stores in Nevada. And so I drove for the first year every single week from Utah to Nevada so I could grow the market and build myself. And that's a 7.5 hour drive each way. But I was committed, like every single week.
You did that all in a day?
I would drive down a day and then come home a couple of days later. But I mean, we even were there. My wife and I were either there for Christmas, New Year's, like everything. We were committed growing that market. And so we're in there, and my co-founder actually was with me at this time. I'm gonna tell the story, but this has happened multiple times, and not just with us, with demo people we hire. But this goes to say what you were saying, because it still hits me every time I think about it. And this happens over and over and over again. So the very first time, because that's the one that hits you the hardest, the first time you experience it. Somebody walked into a grocery store, or Smith's grocery store. I don't know what she was coming in to buy, whether it's bread or, I don't know. Who knows what she was coming to shop for groceries. But we were doing demos, and she comes up and we're like, hey, do you want to try? At this time, we only had vodka when we first launched. We couldn't produce our bourbon in 3 weeks. That would have never happened. But she comes, and so she tastes, and she's like, tell me what this is all about. So I start telling her the story of 22 Salute and what it represents. And you start watching just tears running down her eyes. And then she comes up and gives me a massive hug and says, thank you for what you're doing. And here's how mental health has affected my family and suicide. And she says, I don't personally drink alcohol, but I'm gonna buy this bottle to support you guys and give it as a gift to somebody else. She says, you have no idea what you're doing and how powerful it is.
What is the National Suicide Hotline?
988.
Hold on a second, I'm gonna put it on that screen. 1988.
No, just 9888.
So just give me 988.
Yeah, 988.
That's it? Oh, you just put 988.
Yeah, 988. That's it. Or you can text. I was looking up the text number. If they text from their phone, you can text 838-255.
So if you hit 988 on your phone,
and hit send,
you can get in contact with an individual. If you're struggling, and I'll keep on screening it up here. I think it's really important that there's maybe someone that catches this. If you need something, if you're going through a hard time, because everybody, on LinkedIn land, comes off as everything's great. And I know that's just not the case. So if you need something, hit that 988. That's an incredible service. Sorry, Eric, to throw you off.
Do not be sorry. That's an important number. Don't be sorry. Like I said, I was lucky that I had people who were there when I was in times that I needed it the most. So, but that kind of goes to what you were saying when people see the number. if people hear the story, 2/3 of the country is connected to somebody in the military, and that doesn't even tie into how many people in the country are tied into first responders. But 2/3
Yeah.
of the military of our country is either has somebody in their family directly, themselves or in a family, or they're close friends with somebody that's in the military.
So it's funny you said we have another client, not to mean we're talking to. He's a police chief. I won't say the name, but he's a police chief out of Indianapolis, and he came out with his brand. And he told us a number, and Alicia chime in here, but I think 4 million people is kind of like his target across the U.S. in terms of these first responders, and I think military is included in that. I don't know what the number is, but he's like, this is our community that we want to speak to and help, and he's doing that with his bourbon, actually. So this is an incredible service, and again, I'm going to keep on flashing up that 988 because I got to
Please,
believe
please
it.
do. And
Yeah.
just so people know, that 988 is for everybody, not just veterans and first responders.
Oh, I can call that. There we go.
You can call that. That's for everyone. So if you're listening to this and you're not tied into the industry, but you're checking out this podcast and you need help, call that number.
That is so important to emphasize. So what an incredible thing. So let me transition a little bit. So just talk a little bit about Founder, right? I mean, we talked about your time as a kid, military kid growing up. Talked about your leukemia. Talked about the almost bleeding out. I mean, my gosh, your resilience, and I mean, it comes across like think about what you've been through, and then also you had sometimes about taking your own life, right? So I guess the question is, what keeps you going? Like, why do you keep on showing up? You've gone through so much adversity. Is it the adversity that got you to show up? What is it? I mean, you kind of said it earlier, but I want to just kind of get to the crux of what it
Yeah.
is.
So the very first on that background, there's a couple of books that you can see there. The very first one that I co-wrote with some people is Balanced Success with Eric Ranks, and
So
uh,
balance
Boundless
success.
Success with Eric Ranks. That was the very first book that I
How do you
co-wrote.
spell that? Boundless.
Yeah, Boundless. If I'm thinking in my head, I'm not a great head speller. If I type it, it's easy. Balanced Success with Eric Ranks. But the when you open it and you look at the title of the first chapter, it's pain is the catalyst, and that is what drives me. Is pain was the catalyst. I went through a lot of pain through growing up, and still today I'm dealing with things. I have people who know what I'm going through, some really high, powerful things, and they ask me all the time, like, Eric, I never hear you complain. Like, why are you not complaining about what you're dealing with? And for me, it's just that's my daily life. For me, it's the pain was a catalyst to make change, and so I don't want it to be if I pass away tonight or tomorrow. Like every day, I'm just blessed to have another day. If I pass away, I don't want my tombstone to say, "Here lies an ordinary person." I want to be known for the impact I made to the world. And that's what drives me. I don't want to be ordinary. I want to make impact. I want to save lives. There's a lot of ways people can make impact. The podcast that I run is the Impact Hustle. And it's around about people making, impact every day in their lives. And so impact looks different to everybody. The impact for me is saving lives, vets, first responders. I also have gone around to some schools with a friend of mine, Randy Boom Boom Blake, which is the undefeated 5-time world kickboxing champion. Him and I have gone to some schools to talk to kids about anti-bullying, mental health, suicide prevention. So I've even drafted out a side of just veteran and first responders to our youth. And for me, it's just saving lives. And it's because I went through pain. I don't want other people to go through pain. I want people to live. And my ultimate vision for everybody is to live, for them to live their most fullest life. Like if they lived their life to their fullest and I was an impact on that, then I know I made a difference in their life.
That's amazing. So I talked to a gentleman out of the Netherlands yesterday, and I met him through this networking group I'm part of. It's called I'm going to get this wrong, Michael, if you're watching this. It's called Network. Oh, shoot. Anyway, NSN, I think it is. But anyway, it's a networking event where people all over the globe, but it's this Europe thing. You do like speed dating. So it's like speed dating, but networking. You get 5 minutes. I met this guy named Arup, and Arup had just lost his job, 65 years old. And he comes onto the screen in this 5 minutes, and somehow I got him. There was like 4 or 5 minute kind of groups. I'll invite you to it, Eric. But you just meet these incredible people from all over the globe, and you don't talk about business. You just meet. And Arup goes, I lost my job. I'm 65. No one will hire me. I'm going to cry. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And his hair's all disheveled a little bit. And I said, Arup, I know we only have 5 minutes, but give me a call and book time with me. Give me 30 minutes. I'll share the exact same thing I went through. The only difference between me and you is what? And he goes, what? I said, I've just been on the track longer than you. And I'll just share with you what my journey is and how I can help you. So that's my purpose, as you know, and Alicia's purpose is to help people find work and do right by brands. Your purpose, same thing. It's like, I've been there. I've had hard times. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm going to live for right now. And just like people like get through it because the sun will shine. So I just wanted to share that with you, that what you're saying is so important about what we're talking this morning. And it means it's an incredible message, Eric.
No, I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you guys are doing. There's so many that have that same message. In corporate America, I lost my job a few different times through my career, where companies went in and did restructuring and laid off hundreds of people at a time. And, that happens. And that in itself, like that takes a real mental toll as you're going through that. And, so I appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, you guys are taking on, I know this podcast isn't about you guys, but you're taking on a generation of people who, like him, are older in age, who have already hit their prime, the older you are, the harder it is to get hired somewhere. It's hard.
They don't know what
it's hard. Like, the people want these young people.
Yeah, they don't. When you're in the moment, you don't understand. Like, okay, I've just lost my job. You just feel bad about it. You want to, you just want to just go crawl up and just give up, right? And you can just see it on Arup's face. And I'm like, man, there's hope for you, but you just have to have a purpose. Once you find your purpose, and you can call it destination, but once you know where you're going, which you're very clear on where you're going, right? With what you want to do with 20 Salute, with your bourbon, your vodka, your coffee. But it's not even about the bourbon and vodka and coffee. It's about everything behind that, which is incredible. So you have this purpose, and if you can use that to fulfill your mission, then hats off to you. And I think that's what people need, Eric. They need to just want to hear your story.
Yeah, and I was in. I mean, let's be clear. I was in that stage with 22 Salute at the beginning. So when I started 22 Salute, I was working also at a tech company, and because that was what was funding 22 Salute. It's getting out for anybody who's looking at getting into the alcohol industry. It's an expensive industry. Like, don't be fooled that you're going to jump in and it's not going to. I mean, we put in over $500,000 over the last 4 years. Like,
I mean, that's so. By the way, that's a very important number. So many people think, yeah, I'm going to do it with like a couple grand or whatever. I'm like, and you put like your blood, sweat, and tears in this thing. And Adam, if he was here, we'd ask you is why the hell would you ever go into this business? We'll ask that all the time.
I was naive at how much money I was going to actually have to invest. We started it with like $50K, and it's grown to over 500,000. But and now we're raising funds. So if there's investors out there that are looking to get in the alcohol business, we are definitely raising capital.
Well, if there's an investor, if you make a smart bet, by the way, you're an APHIS, you had Kroger launch you, you're
Total
in several
Wine,
control
like
states, Total Wine, and your message, if anything, just about the message and the quality of the product, obviously is there. Or these people want to be behind you, and then the consistency around your message and your purpose.
Yeah.
So your purpose is what keeps you going, though?
Keeps me going. But what I was going to say before we move to another topic.
Yeah.
So I was working at a tech company, The tech
Yeah.
company was acquired by a private equity firm. And if anybody knows anything about private equity, their goal is to come in and squeeze everything they can out of it to make something as profitable as possible so they can turn around and sell a company. That happens every time private equity buys a company. They came in and started doing restructuring. I was I was using that job to fund 22 Salute. I didn't have any extra money to fund 22 Salute. I made it through 3 rounds of restructuring, and then the fourth round, they basically said, basically the message was, "Hey, you've got this 22 Salute thing. You're fine. You don't need us." And I'm over here going, "I don't have money without you. Like you're the only reason this is working." But they felt
Oh,
like it was a safe bet to let me go because they thought I was making a bunch of money at 22 Salute. But to this day, it's 4 years. To this day, I've never made a single dollar from 22 Salute. So I was in that same position of, oh crap, how do I make things work? I just got laid off. That's the only thing that's supporting this 22 Salute brand. So
man.
I went all in. I took a home equity line on my house. I've drained my 401k. I've like literally I'm all in on 22 Salute. And but that tells you how much I believe in what I'm doing.
So that's such an important message because I've talked to people and I've heard founders say this. Yep, I completely mortgaged my house to get $250,000 back to seed this thing, and so many people do that. Blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, this just doesn't materialize, right? In order to get proof of concept, in order to get to that point, to quote Dave Martin, one of our friends out of Tampa, to get to proof of concept, you gotta put your own money in before people come in behind you. At the end of the day,
Oh
and
yeah, on
you've
my
done that.
investor deck, I'm clear. Like, hey, I'm not asking you to invest in something that I haven't done myself.
That's the first question an investor asks, at least through my experience of trying to raise funds with a couple other brands. It's like, well, how much money have you put in yourself? Because they want to know, like, do you have skin in the game, so to speak, which is amazing. So, with the last few minutes, we always ask everybody that comes on the show this question. And it's a very important question. I want you to give it a lot of thought, but there's no wrong or right answer, so no pressure. What is the difference between success and failure, Eric?
The difference, I actually can just tell you, I don't have to sit and ponder it. The difference between success and failure is did you give up? Did you learn from it? And did you adapt and continue to move forward? We failure is not failure if you just kept moving forward. I'll tell you something very interesting. So I've owned several businesses through the years. I exited my first business around age 24. It was a nutritional business. But I've had some businesses that definitely failed in my career. And when I moved to Utah from Texas. I had an amazing idea for a cutting edge travel product that I was going to launch. Unfortunately, it was around 2008 when the market was crashing and I needed to raise capital. Everybody said my business plan was solid, but the timing wasn't right. But one of the guys I went to invest, I said, "Hey man, here's my business plan. I need a couple of $1 million to launch this." And it's to this day, if I launched it, would be cutting edge. But I'm done with the travel industry. But he looked at me dead in the eyes and he said, "Eric, have you failed in business before?" And no one had ever asked me that. And it caught me off guard. And I'm like, I don't know what to answer because I need this guy's
The
money.
truth.
I
The
need this,
truth.
I need this guy's money. But I was truthful. I said, yeah, I failed a couple of times. He says, I'm willing to have a further conversation with you then. He says, I
Yeah.
will never invest in a single person who has not failed more than once in business because it's the lessons they learn during those failures that ensures that my money will be safe. And that has stuck
That's
with
amazing.
me forever.
That's probably one of the biggest, other than the 988, but one of the biggest takeaways is that, looking for being someone that's authentic and truthful, because I see this stuff posted on LinkedIn, and I mean no ill will by it, but they paint this picture like, yep, I just made $100 million, and I did my fifth X and everything else. What they're not communicating is the failures, and I'd love to see people actually communicate their failures because we can learn from them, right? Like, share with us that the divorce you went through, the house you lost, the kids that you never saw their soccer matches stuff, right? Like, come on, get real for a minute. And actually, Robert Kogan actually touched on this, Cogs. When we were talking, we kind of do a podcast debrief, and we were talking about some people that remain nameless. But some of the stuff put out there, it's great to be positive. I get it. I'm all about as Alicia says, I blow sunshine up her ass every Monday morning, and she does mine as well, to keep us going. But it's the hard, the hard is what it is. I appreciate that. So success, or the difference between success and failure is not giving up. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, just take that loss, and how are you adapt and push forward and persevere. Like, it's not a failure if you haven't given up.
Yeah, yeah. A couple things here, just so as we're wrapping up. Let's see. Alicia says, "Incredible show, guys. Purpose affect people's lives in most meaningful, profound way every day." Richard said, "Hey, send me some images of your product, and I can likely include them in a study free of charge. Not sure if we'll learn anything, but there's always a chance. So I'll connect you up with Richard. I've connected with him a couple groups. Great guy." And then Christine says, "Turning pain into growth isn't easy, but it speaks to the depth of resilience. Your journey is inspiring, Eric."
Appreciate that.
And let's see. And then Cogs, I don't know, man. You're going to just have to call me later on and scream at me. But Robert is just telling me to make sure I pronounce his name right. And then Long O. So Kogan. A whole bit. So with the last few minutes, is there anything that you would like to share with the group here and everybody out in LinkedIn land and Facebook and YouTube? And I think we're streaming on Substack. Maybe we're not. I thought we were. Maybe we didn't go live today. But anything you want to share with the group that we didn't share today so far?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily that we didn't share today, but just that first and foremost, if you're struggling, call the 988 or reach out to somebody around you. People suffer in silence. You think someone's doing really well. You think your neighbor is doing really well. He's there one day, and then all of a sudden you don't see him and find out they took their life. And you don't have to know what somebody's going through at all. You don't have to ask them what they're dealing with. They just need to know that there's somebody there that cares. So, just having a 5-minute conversation, if you see your neighbor out there in the front of his house or something, like that could be the difference of them being here today or not, because they felt like somebody was there for them and they weren't alone. And so for me, that's the biggest message. There's in the veteran community, there's this, I'm going to stir some pots, but there's this BS thing that goes around about doing 22 push-ups a day. It's the 22 push-up challenge. And for me, it's great for social media, blah, blah, blah. But guess what? A push-up will never save someone's life. If you actually reach out to 22 people every day, you're going to save lives because somebody's going to know that you cared. And so that's one message I'm going to give. 2, be resilient. And if you have ideas, hey, I want to do something, give it a try. Don't be scared. I know that starting a business is scary regardless of what type of business it is. Don't feel like you have to quit your job. I tried to have another job while I was originally starting. But, so I would encourage, make sure there's an income to support it. But at the same time, follow your dreams. Life is short. Nobody wants to hear that, but life is short. And so take the opportunity to dive into whatever it is. I've I've co-written 5 books. 4 of them have become international bestsellers, and one is an LA Tribune bestseller. Um, why did I write a book? I'm super, super dyslexic. I've never thought I could write a book, ever. Um,
Right
but
there with you, brother.
I'd always wanted to. And my dad, he's a clinical and neurological psychologist. Well, he was writing this research manual. It was like the book was like this long when he passed, and it wasn't done, and he
Yeah.
never got a chance to publish it. And that was a kick in the arm of like, who cares if you feel like you can't write? Like, it's something you want to do. If you don't just go and do it, it's going to be like my dad, where a book never got published.
Yeah.
But he actually put the work, he put years of work into it, but it never got published. And so I just did it. And then I did it again, and I did it again. And, I try to do one a year now. And, but that's the point. Like, if there's something, don't let something hold you back. I have dyslexia hold me back, but I pushed through that and just forced myself to do it. So that's another thing I'd say. If there's something you're wanting to do, don't let something block it, whether it's money, whether it's time, whether it's, you can find it. And then I'd love to let people know how to find me.
Yeah.
If you go to 22salute.com, ericranks.com, ERICRANKS.com, will connect you to most of the places that I'm out there. The Veterans with an S, the Veterans Connection.
22salute.com, right?
22salute.com,
Okay.
ericranks.com, and the veteransconnection.org. And all of the socials for 22 Salute is at 22 Salute Bevco. So, if you're listening to this, from ericranks.com, you can get connected to the Veterans Connection, my books, to 22 Salute, all that. So that works great. But reach out. And also, I'm very unique. If you listen to the beginning of this podcast, I said I reached out to a lot of nonprofits saying let's work together. I'm connected to several alcohol brands that I do calls with, like once a month or once a quarter, that we share successes and failures and things like that. I have a lot of people who I mentor in a lot of different businesses, even ones that I'm not in myself, but I just know business. So if you just want to have a conversation and you want some help, or you're thinking about ideas or things like that, feel free to reach out. Like, I never feel like somebody's a competitor. That's where I'm coming from. That is like, I just want people to win.
Well, you're now officially in the Drink Up podcast community, which I'll invite you to, by the way. So we always ask you to come in the chat and actually participate with us, Eric.
I would love
And
that.
love to do that. A couple other comments just came in while we were doing that. So first of all, ericranks.com, 22salute.com. Most important number is 988. And if you listen to what Eric just said, if you just want to have a conversation, give him a call and have a conversation. As I say, just pick up the phone. Robert says there's always a few seats on the bus. Bring some people that don't have the opportunities you have a chance for the breaks we all need. A grocery store checkout line and a health club, always talk to people all the time. Which I think is pretty amazing. Richard says, great to hear your story. Good luck. I'll connect through Sam down the road. And I don't know if I think I said this, but Christine said, turning pain into growth isn't easy, but it speaks the depth of resilience. Your journey is inspiring, Eric.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I'd ask you to remain on the line with me, Eric, because we have to do the download. We stream this through Apple Podcasts, as well as Spotify. You can find the full episode streamed live on YouTube, as well as LinkedIn Live. I thought we were on Substack today, but I didn't hit the button correctly. That often happens when you go live here. But thank you, everybody, for joining us this Saturday on what day is it? The 10th of January. I can't believe January's almost over, which is crazy because it was the first week of January this past week. I guess that's the way the holiday landed. So wishing everybody a blessed day.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me today.